Hey guys, what's up? Pastor Chris here. Hope you guys are having a great morning. It's actually Thursday morning, and if you remember back to this last weekend, if you were in person, I actually shared that we were going to, over the course of the next few weeks, just going to talk about some of the major issues that are kind of going on in our culture right now and in our society. Those four things being the pandemic, racism, being politics, and then also I believe that the end times are on a lot of people's minds now because of the things that we're walking through. And so this past Sunday, if you were in person, you heard me just read something that I just felt like it was really important to articulate to the church body. And so since for those of you who were not in person, I failed to actually read that on the video last Sunday. So I wanted to take a moment and just give those of you who were watching online, or if you may have missed, just read that to you so that you have it as a frame of reference for the days ahead. And it also, for those of you who are in person, it gives you the ability to go back and listen to it once again. So this is just a statement that I wrote down to the church, had some of the staff also proofread it, and it's just a position that we're taking as a church. And for this week, this one actually deals with the pandemic that we actually are in the middle of. So I want to take a minute and just read this to you guys. So that you have some framework, this just to kind of go by. It says, we are living in crazy times, and for one of the first times ever, for most of us, if not for all of us, we are living through what has been labeled a worldwide pandemic. There is tons of medical information regarding COVID-19. Some is true and some is false, and knowing what to believe is the challenge for all of us. Some of what we hear and experience is politically motivated, which tends to create division as well. If we are really honest, there are probably a lot of us in here that are on very different pages. But as His church, we cannot let the enemy divide us. There's too much at stake. People matter. The mission, His mission matters, and eternity hangs in the balance. There are two things that I want to say to the church, two things that I want to say to Crosswinds Church. One, we cannot operate out of fear. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, of love, and self-discipline. His church is the voice of hope in the midst of a crisis. The church cannot shrink back in fear. We must continue to press forward in strength and in passion and with His mission in mind. The second thing is that we must operate out of compassion, a compassion that exudes and displays true love for one another and the world around us. John 13:34, Jesus told us, a new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciple if you love one another. These last few months have created lots of emotions for all of us. It has slowed our life down and altered the routine of life unlike never before. And although the culture seems to be out of control, God is still totally in control. I believe God is in the process of trying to get our attention and to help us look at things differently than before this all began. I believe God is awakening His church and reminding us that His kingdom and His mission are more important than our personal preferences. The question is, what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with the challenges in front of us? What are we truly going to do with Jesus? What are we truly going to live for? You see, His church and those who claim to follow Christ must rise to the occasion. We must push ourselves out of our comfort zone. We must pursue the purpose and the calling God has placed us here for, and realize that our calling will always involve risk. God never promised easy or safe. He has promised, what he has promised was his presence. So we have to be reminded that at the end of the day, the foundation of all of this is that we operate out of faith, not fear. We operate out of hope. We operate in peace. We operate in strength and in the things that God has called us to. Let's continue to build his kingdom, keep his mission in mind, and realize that he is still moving the church forward in our community. We love you guys. Hope you have a great day, and hope you take some time to read this or listen.